While relaxing on the beach, Jim suddenly spotted something strange in the water. He couldn't believe his eyes, a dog catching a ride on a dolphin's back. Was he seeing this correctly? Jim couldn't help but laugh, but that quickly changed when he realized why the dolphin was helping the dog. Jim could see the loose collar around its neck, indicating that it had an owner. Even with its dolphin ride, he was sure it wouldn't last long in the water. A huge wave of adrenaline came over him, and he immediately ran into the water. Join us on The Unusual for more gripping tales. Will Jim be able to save the dog in time, or will the ocean's unpredictable waves make this rescue even more challenging? Don't miss out. Subscribe to the channel and let's dive into this. His laughs were short-lived as he dashed off his bath towel and ran toward the ocean. He had no clue if the dolphin would even let him get close, but he knew the dog could never make it to shore without help. Jim saw the dolphin slowing down, appearing hesitant about him nearing it. Spotting his wife Iris looking confused, Jim yelled at her to call animal rescue. His concern was for the dog in the water, and he wondered how it ended up there and who was responsible. The past week had been hectic for Jim and Iris. Working overtime, they were seeking relaxation, so they decided on a beach day. They put on swimwear, brought towels, lunch, and games. The beach, initially quiet, became extraordinary when they spotted wild dolphins, a lucky moment. The pod's visit was magical, but the second time a lone fin appeared, with a dog clinging to it, seemingly surfing, Jim noticed something amiss. Realizing the dog needed help, he ran towards the shoreline, urging Iris to call for animal rescue and the Coast Guard. It all of a sudden became tense when Jim ran towards the water on the beach. His chest beat in his throat as feet sank on sand while thinking about the next event that could take place. He plunged into the waves without hesitation, feeling the cold water bite at his skin. The waves were choppy, slapping against his body as he swam deeper, trying to keep his eyes on the dog and dolphin ahead. Each stroke toward the animals felt heavier, as if the weight of the situation bore down on him, the uncertainty of whether he could reach them in time hammering away at his determination. When Jim approached, they saw the dolphin swimming around the dog in circles. The dolphin, being the protective type, swam fast. The dog was holding onto the dolphin tightly. It seemed to be tired. Its hairs were wet and stiff, and the dog stayed on the fin persistently. Jim breathed heavily, opened his eyes slightly, and saw the dolphin stop its movement. Its intelligent eyes fixed on Jim's with suspicion, as if the dolphin was trying to figure out whether to attack Jim or not. For a moment, Jim felt that the dolphin might make off with the dog and pull the two away into the deep of the sea. But he maintained his speed slowly. He did not let his arms to move erratically with the water that was swirling around. At this juncture, a big swell engulfed Jim, which swept him off the water for what looked like a very uncomfortable break. Water poured into his mouth and his hands were flailing for the briefest of moments before he surfaced, hacking and gasping. His vision blurred by the seawater, Jim wiped his eyes, desperate not to lose sight of the dolphin and the dog. His heart pounded harder as he saw them drifting farther out, the dolphin still circling, but showing signs of fatigue as it struggled against the relentless waves. In the distance, Jim saw the flashing lights of the Coast Guard boat, but they were still far away, and time seemed to be slipping through his fingers. The waves were getting stronger, and the dog's grip on the dolphin appeared more and more precarious. Jim knew he couldn't wait for help to arrive. With his muscles burning, Jim pushed himself harder, gritting his teeth as he fought the current. He was close now, so close that he could hear the dog's soft whimper over the roar of the ocean. His heart ached for the animal, its body trembling with exhaustion. As he reached the dolphin, it gave a final circle around the dog before stopping, as if it trusted Jim to take over. Jim stretched out his hand, hoping the dog would allow him to help. Just as his fingers brushed the dog's collar, a massive wave rose behind them, a towering wall of water that seemed ready to engulf them all. Jim barely had time to react before the waves slammed into them with crushing force. The impact tore the dog from the dolphin's back, and Jim was thrown into the chaos of swirling water. He was tossed like a rag doll, his body spinning in the violent current as he fought to regain control. When he finally surfaced, sputtering and disoriented, he searched the churning waters, his heart in his throat. The dog was no longer clinging to the dolphin. Panic surged through him as he scanned the water, desperate to locate the helpless animal. Time seemed to slow as he spun around, searching in every direction, the waves towering and crashing in relentless succession. And then he saw it, just a few feet away. The dog was struggling to keep its head above the water, its eyes wide with fear. Jim kicked his legs, propelling himself through the water, pushing past the pain in his arms. When he reached the dog, he grabbed hold of its collar, pulling it close to his chest as he fought to stay afloat. The dog's body was limp, its energy completely drained, and Jim could feel his own strength fading quickly. Out of the corner of his eye, Jim saw the dolphin still nearby, as if it were waiting to ensure the dog's safety. Jim clung to the dog, whispering words of comfort, though his own fear gnawed at him. As the Coast Guard boat finally closed in, Jim waved frantically, signaling for help. They were running out of time. The dog was too exhausted to hold on any longer, and Jim's muscles were failing him as well. Finally, the rescue team arrived. The boat cut through the waves with expert precision, and the rescuers leaned over the edge, extending a life preserver towards Jim and the dog. With the last bit of energy he had, Jim secured the preserver around the dog and handed it off to the rescuers. He watched as they carefully pulled the dog from the water, his heart hammering with relief. But as he glanced back toward the dolphin, he saw it pause for a moment, its eyes locking with his one last time before it disappeared into the depths of the ocean, leaving Jim floating in awe of the incredible bond that had just unfolded before his eyes. Exhausted but relieved, Jim treaded water until the rescuers helped him aboard. He collapsed onto the deck, gasping for air, his heart still racing from the adrenaline-fueled rescue. Jim swam back to the shore, keeping an eye on the boat where the dog lay. As he emerged from the water, he saw the rescuers carrying the dog onto the beach, wrapped in a warm, dry blanket. Jim felt overwhelming relief and walked closer to ensure the dog's well-being. On the beach, the rescue team surrounded the dog, checking its health and offering comfort. Jim observed the scene, feeling a connection to the brave animal. He noticed a glinting collar with a small metal tag that read Max and displayed an address. This tag became a beacon of hope in unraveling the mystery of Max's ocean adventure. Before heading to the address, Jim and Iris decided to stop by the local animal shelter to gather any information that might help them understand how Max ended up in the ocean. The shelter staff recognized Max from a missing pet report filed weeks earlier, detailing his disappearance from a nearby neighborhood. They explained that despite efforts to locate his owners, no one had come forward to claim him. What made the situation even stranger was that Max's case wasn't an isolated incident. His disappearance coincided with a series of missing pet reports in the area. The staff said people had started murmuring that something sinister had happened to the pets in the camp, and started speculating that the animals might have been stolen or harmed, while others attributed the absence of the pets to bad weather conditions they had experienced recently. Those uncomfortable episodes added more intrigue to Max's adventure, and Jim and Iris both felt encouraged as well as worried. They could not set foot on the boat, so instead, feeling more urgency now, they decided to follow the address on the tag, believing that it would lead them closer to the truth of Max's incredible ocean survival. Iris and Jim being convinced that Max was well taken care of at the veterinarian, they decided to go to the address on the tag. Their way took them to this part of the coast, where many questions related to the identity of Max's birth and his incredible story of surviving in water were heard. The drive ended in front of a small, deserted house, which was also the place marked on Max's tag. Iris and Jim found themselves in a comparatively still environment, and they were uncertain but not discouraged as they walked up to the door. Breaking the door and knocking also produced no response. The curtains drawn showed the interior to be empty. Circling the house, Jim and Iris observed signs of neglect, suggesting an extended absence of residents. Neighbors informed them that the elderly couple who owned the house had always been private and had not been seen for weeks. Afraid for the welfare of the couple, the community's concern worsened with the gradual decline of the state of their house. Jim and Iris remained speechless in front of the still house. Complex questions remained unanswered. More information concerning the couple was revealed by the locals in successive discussions. The husband suffered a severe sickness for some time. The information gave background knowledge as to why the house had been quite abandoned and why the couple needed so much privacy at that time. The fact that the community started becoming concerned each and every hour can be attributed to their compound welfare, which stressed much on their unity that they have each other's back. They arranged Max's strange journey into the lives of the elderly couple and the people who surrounded them, telling a story that was denied a clear ending but provoked thoughts about something that was still happening. Jim and Iris, along with their neighbors, tried following the actions and steps of the last days of the couple, and everything remained cold, increasing anxiety and unknown of the couple. The search revealed the couple's fondness for boating, especially on the sea. A group of locals, including Jim and Iris, discovered an abandoned boat matching the descriptions given by neighbors. The boat seemed hastily left, with signs of recent use, personal belongings scattered inside, and a half-empty water bottle. The mystery surrounding the couple's sudden departure intensified. Concerned about the couple's fate, the search expanded, becoming a community-wide effort. Volunteers combed the area, posted flyers, organized search parties, and shared information on social media. The community's close-knit nature shone through as businesses provided support to the search teams. Tragedy struck when the elderly man's body was found on a remote beach. The news spread grief and shock through the community. Residents rallied together, offering support and sharing in the heartache. Preliminary findings suggested natural causes, bringing a small sense of relief. The focus shifted urgently to finding the missing wife. In a surprising turn of events, she was found in a local hospital, recovering from a minor accident. The discovery brought relief but raised concerns about her husband's fate. The wife recounted her recent accident at home, revealing gaps in her memory. She was unaware of her husband's fate and Max's adventure, adding another layer to the unfolding mystery. Her confusion deepened as they explained the situation, her face reflecting a mix of disbelief and sorrow. The gap in her knowledge was puzzling and heartbreaking, leaving Jim and Iris with more questions than answers about the events that had transpired. In the quiet hospital room, Jim and Iris began piecing together the events leading to the current situation. The wife's fragmented recollections, the husband's discovery, and Max's remarkable journey slowly formed a picture with missing elements, an incomplete and mysterious story. Despite her frail state, the wife spoke warmly about Max, describing his deep loyalty and protective nature. Max was more than a pet, he was a guardian. Her anecdotes illustrated a bond beyond the usual owner-pet relationship, emphasizing Max's special place in their lives. The routine departure for a sea trip made the subsequent events more heart-wrenching. The wife spoke of their shared love for the sea and how these trips were a cherished part of their life together, adding a poignant note to the story. Piecing together the timeline, it became apparent that Max's actions after the man's passing were likely a search for help. Max's unwavering dedication to his owner was deeply moving, showcasing the extraordinary nature of the dog's loyalty. In the quiet hospital room, Jim and Iris began to understand the full extent of Max's journey. It was not just a tale of survival, but one of devotion and a desperate plea for assistance. Max's venture into the sea, driven by the need to seek help, added an extraordinary dimension to the narrative. Marine experts, intrigued by Max's story, discussed the dolphin's role with fascination. They believed the dolphin likely sensed Max's distress and responded with compassion, shedding light on the mysterious interaction between Max and the dolphin. The unique interaction became a point of significant interest, demonstrating a level of understanding and cooperation that transcended the boundaries of different worlds. The incident challenged assumptions about animal behavior and served as a compelling example of empathy in the animal kingdom. Max and the dolphin story highlighted an unusual yet touching bond across species, offering a glimpse into a world where compassion knows no boundaries. Jim, Iris, and the community found the tale of unexpected friendship and aid captivating. As Jim sat by the hospital bedside, reflecting on the emotional roller coaster at the beach, he realized that it wasn't just witnessing an extraordinary event. This was the complete devotion, bravery, and kindness that had stirred him to the core. The incredible real story of Max and the dolphin taught Jim and Iris how deep animal emotions are and how strong the relationship between them and their pet was. Per Max's history, Jim and Iris got to a decision of adopting him, which was the best decision they could make as to give him a home and belonging. It led to a series of happy sequences in the lives of the couple. As they prepared for Max's arrival, understanding that Max had been through a lot, the couple was determined to create a welcoming environment where he could leave behind the uncertainties of his past and build a brighter future. It was a heartfelt farewell to the past, making way for a fresh start. The story concluded with a hopeful outlook on Max's life with Jim and Iris. Their decision to adopt him marked the beginning of a new chapter, filled with love, companionship, and shared adventures. Leaving the hospital with Max, there was a sense of completeness, a feeling that they had not only saved him, but that he had also saved them in his own way. The future was uncertain, but it was a future they were ready to face together, united by the remarkable tale that had brought them together.